are knitting the Rustic Vibes Shawlette, which is a beautiful rustic shawl, but it's a smaller version, so you can wear it as a neck warmer, or you can wear it around your shoulders. You can wear it like a bandana, so it's pretty versatile. We're using our Jew yarn, which is a mixture of linen, alpaca and wool, so it's slightly slubby and a little bit textured, hairy, even with the linen bits, but that just adds to the character. It's beautiful and soft and very kind of organic feeling. Okay, so to start our shawl, we just cast on 3 stitches, nice and easy, long tail cast on. So I just put my needle underneath and hold that yarn in position on top. This is a 3.75mm needle. You can use straight needles. I'm using circular just because I find them easier. And then long tail cast on, so I'm just going across. See how I'm holding that yarn like a slingshot, going across and under the thumb and over to the index finger and hooking that, making a stitch. So that's actually my second stitch, because the first one was just where I was holding the yarn, and then I will make the third stitch, over, under, third stitch. 3 stitches, pretty easy. Okay, then we're going to turn over so that my stitches are on my left, and I'm going to start knitting. So the setup row for our shawlette is knit front back, so that means we're going into the front of that first stitch and doing a knit stitch, so our right needle is underneath our left and crossing over. Needle wraps around our right hand needle, yarn wraps around, and pull that back through and up. And because we're doing a knit front back, which is increasing by 1 stitch, we're not going to slide that off the needle like we normally would to finish a knit stitch. We're going to also knit into the back of that stitch. So that is what we call a knit front back. And then this is my setup row. So for my setup row, I place a stitch marker next, and then knit, just a plain knit stitch for the second or middle stitch. Okay, so our needle goes underneath for knit, yarn goes around the needle, and pull it back, and this time we slide it off because we are just knitting a stitch, we're not increasing. Add a second stitch marker. I can pick it up, and then another increase on the other side. Oops. So we're doing another knit front back. So knit as per normal, but don't slide it off, and knit into the back of that stitch. Okay, so now we have 5 stitches, 2 on each side of our stitch marker, and 1 stitch in the center. So that center stitch is going to be our center stitch the whole way through. So those markers are telling us that that's our middle stitch, and there are times in our next row you'll see that where we do increases or yarn overs on each side of that center stitch. So we are creating a triangular shape, so we're increasing on each side evenly as we go throughout the shawlette. So now I am on to, that was my setup row, so now I am on to row 1 of the pattern. So this one is also an increase row, knit front back, so we are doing that again, knitting into the first stitch, not sliding it off, knitting into the back of it also to increase by 1 like that, and then knitting the next stitch. And in this pattern we do another type of increase every 3rd row, which is a yarn over when we get to our marker, so that is why our marker is there. So to do a yarn over, we just take the yarn around the needle from the back round to the front, slip the marker across, knit our center stitch, okay, like so. And notice how I made sure that when I knit that center stitch, I didn't, the yarn over, I made sure it went across before that stitch marker. So I'm still only left with one stitch in the middle. Slide our slip stitch marker, yarn over again. So that goes from the back of our work round to the front. Knit one stitch, and then another increase in this row, so we go knit front back, knit into the front of the stitch and knit into the back of the stitch. So every row from now on we are doing a knit front back at each end, but every third row we are also adding the yarn over on each side of our center stitch. So I will come back and go over that again when I have done a few more rows.